Ben, my boyfriend, 23, and I, 22, have been dating for 4 years. He is sometimes a little weird, but he's a kind and lovely man. A little shy, timid, and quiet. He has anxiety and gets nervous around people. He does certain things that might appear weird. He's just a little closed off. With me, he's open, and we can tell each other everything. If something is bothering us, we talk and explain what's on our minds. But recently, he's been acting weird towards my sister, 20. He does not want to be around her. He walks the other way when he sees her and makes no eye contact. He literally cannot be in her presence. It's gotten so bad that he drives away when he sees a car that looks like hers. He wasn't telling me what was bothering him, which had been going on for months. I just wanted to know what was going on. I asked my sister what had happened between them. She said that nothing happened and that he was just weird. So I kept asking him to tell me what was going on. He refused until I asked him again last week. He broke down and told me that my sister has been harassing and bullying him for a while. He told me that she's been calling him names, knocking things out of his hand, supposedly putting her hands on him, and a lot worse than I can say here. Supposedly. It was hard to believe that my sister would do something so awful. She's honestly an angel and would not do something so terrible. She's 5'2", and my boyfriend is over 6 feet and muscular. It's kind of hard to believe she could have done those things. I confronted my sister about these incidents. She, of course, denied all of these things. She just told me he's unusual and has always been like that, but I've been too blind to notice. She said that he's lying and explained that we're sisters, and I should stand by her, not let some man come between sisterhood. So I feel a little conflicted because I don't know who to believe. I told my best friend, who my boyfriend has also known since childhood, about everything. She already knew and told me that my sister definitely did those things because she's always been like that. I was flabbergasted and told my BFF that my sister is literally an angel and the sweetest person. She said, "Oh no, she's only like that in front of you. To everyone else, she's a damn witch and the vilest person in existence." I really cannot fathom that she would do that. I just explained that I didn't know who to believe, and maybe they should explain or talk it out in front of me. She said she would unfriend me immediately if I let my sister anywhere near him again, and that I should stop choosing my sister over my significant other. She hung up after that. Like what? I'm not choosing my sister over him. I also don't think it's wrong to talk things through. I don't know who's telling the truth, and I need to hear both sides. I don't think that's wrong. Am I the idiot if I do? 2 significant people in your life have verified allegations of your sister's actions. While I understand that family is everything, mentally please consider the possibility that your sister does not have your best intentions at heart and has a never-ending get-out-of-jail-free card, and she knows it. You are the idiot if you try to force your boyfriend into more harassment. Your best friend is willing to end your friendship over this. Take it seriously. It sounds like you don't know your sister at all. It's obvious why your boyfriend didn't tell you without you nagging him about it. He knew you wouldn't believe him. You think your sister's an angel who can do no wrong, despite multiple people telling you otherwise. Abusive people are very good at faking being perfect and sweet to convince others that their victims are lying. I bet if you talk to a few other people who know your sister, you'd learn she's not as perfect as you think. You are the idiot, and you're the one blind here, but not about your boyfriend. You're sure she couldn't because she's an angel? No. What she is a manipulative, two-faced witch who has had you under her thumb and dancing to her tune for who knows how long. You should not have your boyfriend talk things through with your sister. Instead, try a therapist or the police. Consider yourself lucky both of them haven't walked out on you already because of your BS. Because if I were either of them, pulling the stunt you just did, I would have been out so fast your head would spin. I, 23, female, moved in with my in-laws a little over a year ago after getting married. I have a sister-in-law, a young teen, my mother-in-law, and their maid. My mother-in-law finds it shameful to discuss menstrual cycles or anything period-related. We argued when I called my husband to tell him I ran out of pads, and she saw him enter the house with a bag of them. Apparently, he shouldn't even know what they are, let alone be purchasing them for me. Sister-in-law started her cycle shortly after I moved in. Over the past 9 months, I realized that there were none left every time I needed my stuff. I realized everyone else was using my pads instead of buying their own. I spoke to the other women in the house and explained that I appreciated that they might get caught short. But if they could replace the stuff or at least tell me they had run low, I would have some. Every 3 weeks, it's the same thing. I never have pads, even though I had them stacked up. So I bought a mini storage locker and put it in my ensuite bathroom, and I have the only key. This is also where the pads were anyway, so basically, they were rifling through our bedroom frequently to access them. Sister-in-law found out the hard way and tattled to my mother-in-law, who went off on me for being self-centered and unsympathetic. I told her I was tired of being taken advantage of, and if she was so worried about her daughter, then she should take steps to provide for her. She dragged my husband into it and said she would throw me out if I didn't apologize for my comments and actions. He reminded her that we move out in 2 months anyway, and that if she wanted me out, we would gladly leave early. She backed down, but there was tension between the in-laws, husband, and me, with them giving us the silent treatment. Maybe I should not have locked my pads away? Wait, so it's shameful for your husband to buy you pads, but it isn't shameful for your mother-in-law to throw a fit and involve her son in the feminine hygiene drama? Irony. You are not the idiot, OP. They kept using your pads because your mother-in-law is too ashamed to buy her own, so they're all relying on you for their feminine needs. What happens when you move out? They'll be forced to go to the store. Mother-in-law went off on you, calling you self-centered and unsympathetic for wanting to use the stuff you bought. What exactly does that make her, not buying them at all? She's the one making the big problem. It's absurd to be so dramatic about something that can be solved at basically any store. Geez, if they have a maid, they can afford menstrual products. Never mind them. Why is this idiot mother not buying her kids sanitary stuff regularly? She must know her daughter needs them. Instead, she's resorting to stealing them. That girl's probably embarrassed that she even has to steal her sister-in-law's pads. So sad. I feel really bad for her, honestly. Just think what it's teaching this young lady. Be ashamed of your body. Other people need to provide for your needs. And whatever you do, don't ask the man in your life for support. Craziness. I'm a 31-year-old man and was at a large store yesterday with my infant son when he did what babies do. I went to the restroom and saw that there wasn't a family or companion restroom, just a men's and women's restroom. So I went into the men's room and saw a cubicle and a few urinals, but no changing table. The sink didn't have a counter either. I walked out and hunted down an employee to ask where the changing table was. She said it was in the bathroom, and I asked where, assuming there was a family or companion restroom on the other side of the store. She took me back to where I just was. I asked if there was another bathroom, and she said no. I told her I was just in the bathroom and there was no changing table. She asked if I was sure and suggested I look again. I was annoyed, but I went back to the men's room. No changing table. When I came out, the employee was gone. Keep in mind that my son has been in his poopy diaper this whole time, so I gave up and headed into the ladies' room, which had a changing table. A woman was washing her hands and said, "Wrong bathroom, buddy." I gestured to my son and said, "No changing table in the men's room." She laughed and said, "Bro, that sucks," then walked out. So I rushed to change him, hoping to be done before anyone else walked in. I'm almost done when a woman walks in and starts screaming at me. I tried to explain what I was doing, but she kept shouting, "Get out! You can't be here!" Then she ran out. I finished putting the diaper on and rushed out of the bathroom. I saw the woman talking to an employee and decided to leave without my stuff. The employee tried to wave me down and stop me, but I rushed to my car, buckled my son into his seat, and left. My wife said I did the right thing, but my mom says I'm an idiot and 100% in the wrong. My sister won't stop laughing at me and is no help. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. That store is 100% to blame for this. I wouldn't be shocked. If they've received complaints about this in the past and haven't done anything about it, your mom was way out of line. You needed to change your kid. What did she expect you to do? Change him on the floor? Drive him home in a dirty diaper? Your wife was right. You did the right thing. And that lady was rude. Who does that? Screaming at a father changing his kid's dirty diaper. I've never felt threatened by a man changing a poopy diaper. Wait, maybe I should feel threatened since they have the most dangerous weapon ever. As a woman, I wouldn't have even given him a second look. He was at a changing table with a baby. What do you think he was doing? This isn't the first time I've heard that many stores do not have changing tables in the men's restrooms. I always assumed they were in both. I was wrong. Maybe if people started changing their babies on the customer service desk in stores that can't be bothered to be properly equipped, the stores will begin to rethink this outdated misogynistic BS. What does your mom suggest you should have done? She said I should have asked the lady washing her hands, or the female employee I first spoke with to change him for me and wait right outside. I feel that would have been a bit entitled, though. Hey, random woman I don't know, change my baby's poopy diaper. My fiancé, Edgar, is my future mother-in-law's only son. She is so attached to him and is excited about our wedding. We've had a relatively long engagement, and we're finally getting married soon. I've been trying to keep her as involved as much as possible, but she kept getting more demanding with her expectations. She'd email me a list of questions about 5 or 6 times a week. She'd ask me the same questions repeatedly, expecting a different answer. When she doesn't get a different answer, my future father-in-law will call me and start pushing the same thing. It made me anxious and stressed out. Edgar says that she just wants to ensure the wedding is flawless, and felt like some of the choices I made during wedding planning were poor. She went to our former wedding coordinator, bombarded her with tons of questions, and even called her many times trying to change things we had already picked, saying all choices made were based on zero experience and were wrong. She even pretended to be me at some point. This caused a huge fight between us, and I ended up starting all over with a new wedding coordinator and completely cutting mother-in-law out of the wedding planning process. Mother-in-law lashed out at me for it, and Edgar said that I was too hard on his mom. Last week, I found out that he went against my wishes and gave his mom our wedding coordinator's contact info, and his mom found out about all our plans. So I blew up at him and told him he violated my boundaries and betrayed my trust. He said it was no big deal, and that his mom genuinely means no harm, even if she and I don't agree most of the time. We had an argument, and I went to stay with my dad for a few days. Edgar kept texting, saying I was overreacting and was too hard on him and his mom. Am I overreacting? Note: she isn't contributing anything to the wedding except her input and experience. My dad is the one paying for the wedding. He never tried to give an opinion or suggest anything regarding the wedding. He just told me to have the wedding as I had always envisioned it, not the idiot. There are 2 problems here. First, Edgar prioritizes his mom's feelings above yours. Second, if you resist, Edgar uses deceit and manipulation to accomplish his goal. These are severe, marriage-ending problems. My advice is to cancel the wedding and go to couples counseling to address these huge issues. At a minimum, if you go forward with the wedding, you should be 100% sure not to get pregnant. It is also concerning that wedding coordinator number 2 did not reach out as soon as mother-in-law contacted her. It would be alarming and contract ending if she made changes based on mother-in-law's instructions, and not yours. You have a serious situation here. However, don't discount it as wedding craziness if you want to avoid a decade of similar experiences. Welcome to your new life, OP. Expect her to help organize every aspect of her son's life in the future. If you're lucky, you might get to have some small bit of input as a concession, but it looks as if you are marrying 2 people. You're officially on notice. He will prioritize his mother over you, always. He's dismissive of your boundaries and your feelings. Before you commit to that life, sit down and think about all the huge decisions that come up in the course of a marriage. Ones where you know your own wishes about your own life would be disregarded. Your children's birth, their health care, their education, financial issues like who works, whose career gets prioritized, major purchases, budgets, and it's only going to get more complicated because mother-in-law knows best. I lost my only son 11 years ago. He had 2 children who were toddlers at that time. My grandchildren's mother quickly moved on and attempted to cut contact with my husband and me. We went to court and were awarded grandparents' visitation rights, which made the kid's mother and her husband very unhappy. Immediately upon the start of our court-ordered time with our grandchildren, their mother insisted we include her husband's 2 children of the same age. We did not. It has been a constant tension between us, but her stepchildren are not part of our family. I do not see them as anything but strangers' children. We feel the same about the other children she has biologically. They're not our family. Our 2 grandchildren are. We are allowed to take the children for a week in the summer every year for vacation. This year, we took them on an enjoyable trip to a more advanced water park that they'd always wanted to go to, and then we brought them to our old home, where we raised their dad. It was a lovely trip, very meaningful. The kids had fun. When we all got back, the kids' mom and her husband complained that we took them on such an extravagant trip and didn't attempt to include the other children. My older grandchild mentioned tension in the home after their return and said that the half-siblings were upset about missing out on something fun. I acknowledge these are children, so I wanted to see if people believed my husband and I are wrong in this dispute. I will also add, for anyone who feels it's relevant, that we are in no way involved in the lives of these other children. We do not include them in our family, nor do we buy them anything for any occasion. Our grandchildren have never expressed the desire to include them with us either. Not the idiot. You're the grandparents of your son's children, and you had to have a legal battle to have even a little bit of access to them to maintain the relationship. Of course, you'd want to protect that time so you can focus as much on them as possible without having other kids who aren't related to you. Their mom is being unreasonable and inappropriate. You aren't legally or socially obligated to play granny with anyone else's kids, regardless of their connection to your grandkids. Mom is probably looking for free childcare for the week. The biggest idiot here is the mother who's feeding BS to her stepkids that they should be included. It's not your problem that they're envious of their step-siblings. If you have a will or something similar where you pass inheritance money to your grandchildren, make sure it's ironclad where the mother can't get her hands on it. You are the idiot, in my opinion, because I think you're leaving a lot out of your story. We don't know your grandchildren's mother and stepfather's side of the story, and you're really painting them in a very bad light. I mean, why would she ever try to cut you out from your grandchildren? There must be a reason. Also, the way you say the other two children are strangers to you is disgusting. You should be willing to welcome these additional children into the fold if you have the means. Everyone needs some family therapy.